Hello, love. Welcome to Feeling Fridays here on the Libran Key. These are messages for the highest and the greatest good of the Empath Collective and the Empath Journey here on Mama Gaia, part of the Elsh Collective, of course. Empaths, light workers, starseeds, and healers, awakened and awakening souls. Know that if this message has found you or you have found it, that there is something here for you. That is always the intention that I put into these messages. And for those of you returning here, family, thank you for being here. I'm sending you so much love wherever you are across this beautiful Mama Gaia. The dragon realm and dragon energy in general coming through for this reading, for this Feeling Fridays message. And I just want to invite you for a moment of your own free will, of course, because we will be talking about that at some point, to feel into dragon energy and what that means to you. What the dragon realm is showing me is how each and every one of us has a dragon energy that we are connected to. It is also said that each and every one of us has a guardian dragon and a guardian or a dragon guide. There's overlap there, but there's slightly different energies. And they're also really wanting to emphasize, when you envision dragon energy, what kind of color rays come through for you. Those are all for you personally to connect to as we get into the energy of this reading, okay? They're coming in to speak very strongly, very straight up about empowerment, about empath empowerment. We're going to talk about boundaries here. We're also going to touch a little bit upon being a sovereign being and what unconditional love means, kind of coming off of, I can't remember which Feeling Fridays message it was, but I will link it here, okay? With regard to, I think it was the Venusians that had come through for that, talking about unconditional love. And this is a topic and a form of consciousness that we are going to be exploring quite a bit here, is what I'm feeling. And it's interesting that there are various energies that really want to speak to this, especially to the Empath Collective, because one of the things that had come through that previous message was having unconditional love doesn't mean being a doormat. Having unconditional love doesn't mean feeling guilty or obligated in a way that is a detriment to your own health, to your own emotional well-being, okay? Let's see, we're going to see what will come through for that, okay? I am working with these two crystal energies, Septarian Dragonstone, this little crystal here, and Rose Quartz. They started me off with this to connect to an energy around boundaries, protection, and shielding. Dragons are incredibly powerful in terms of their ability to teach us boundaries and to also protect us, okay? I'm not going to get into the whole, they're not guiding me, but I just want to kind of touch upon this really, really briefly, is that culture to culture, we have some interesting diversity and differing kind of approaches and understandings of dragon energy and what that is, okay? In a lot of Western cultures, it is a demonized kind of energy. And what the dragon spirit and dragon energy in general is inviting us to do is to go a little bit deeper with regard to that. Because Septarian is connected to a couple of things in terms of the etymology of the word here, which is interesting. Sept as in seven. Seven is always the energy of going deeper. Seven is also the energy of balancing the intellect, the mind, the monkey mind, the thinking mind with the intuition. This is speaking to a balance between the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And this is really connected to dragon energy, because the deeper you go into looking at how Western traditions and Western cultures, especially those connected to, you know, a Judeo-Christian type of, let's just call it philosophy, okay? Dragons are connected to divine feminine energy the same way snakes are, okay? And it's interesting to see that how that is demonized, the same way the divine feminine is often demonized. Whole other topic, which we're not going to get into. But they want me to focus here on the fact that it's named Septarian and 7, connected to the number 7, one of the interpretations, because it is said that this little mud ball, what looks like a mud ball, this is the back of it, splits into 7 points, okay? And that's how it's connected to that. And also, I'm just looking at the word here, septum, S-A-E-P-T-U-M, which is the Latin word, I'm pretty sure, the Latin word for enclosure or a wall and a boundary, something that blocks you off from something else. What's interesting with this crystal, though, is that we have a breaking, a splitting, and then a wall, an enclosure. Isn't that interesting? There's something that really, this crystal energy is speaking to us in that way with regard to the heart space and healing, okay? So oftentimes on the empath journey, it is through a breaking open or a breaking through of energy. And I'm going to really relate this to the heart space now, is what they're directing me to. This splitting open, this breaking of a heart, right? I think of the Rumi said, it's I can't remember from which poem it is or from which writing. The cracks are where the lights get in, right? The crack is where the light enters. And that is very much the analogy they're giving me. And Leonard Cohen, of course, you know, wrote that in one of his songs, where it's like, that's where the light gets in. And this is an analogy that they're giving us to a heart breaking or cracking open, where the walls around this heart are cracked, they're broken, in order for us as empaths specifically to build new healthy boundaries around our emotional health, our giving, our energy, all right? Now, what's interesting is I also heard that song, and I can't remember the name of the artist, but it's that song that goes, one thing leads to another. I think it's an 80s song. It's like, why don't they do what they say what they do? One thing leads to another. And that was one of the first messages that came through for this reading, where it was like, this applies to everything with regard to building our intuition and discernment, and with regard to our energy, our heart space. What something appeared to be wasn't the case, learning lessons through that, our heart cracking open because of that, and learning from that and growing from that, essentially transmuting. Because I also had the energy of the number 10 and 13 come through, which is interesting because 10 is always what we think of, a cycle with 10 ending, right? And a new beginning. And this divine masculine energy of the 1, drawing lines in the sand, creating boundaries, okay? Protection, with the divine feminine in the 0 of the void, okay? And this cycle, bringing an end to a cycle, is what they're showing me with that. And I'm also seeing the 13 right out of the tarot, the death card, transformation energy, okay? When you add 10 and 13, you get a 23. That is a 5. That is the number of challenge, change, opportunity through crisis. And it's also the number of cutting, of editing, of cutting something out, okay? According to the Kabbalistic Tantric yoga tradition, okay? I can't remember that man's name, but I talked about this earlier. There was somebody that, this is a really interesting interpretation of the 5. Okay. Also 5 being connected to the body and our energy with the body and who we actually allow in the physical space around us. I'm also seeing the 5 of Pentacles here from the Light Seers Tarot, okay, which I will be asking through we'll be asking through that for messages of support here. And this is also going back to you holding the key being within you. The fact that the key is right there next to her, this woman, as she has her head down, and it is there. There's an opportunity there to break through, to step through another doorway, all right? And I also just want to say quickly here as a side note, how wonky the energies are right now. The solar flares just like exploding with regard to this clearing of this energy and a lot of this stuff coming up for the Empath Collective. So you are not alone, okay? Another message here that also came through, kind of coming off of boundaries here. I heard a battle of wills, okay? And specifically, I was given an example of having a loved one where perhaps they're doing something, or you know that there are things that they could be doing that would be beneficial to them, that would be perhaps healing to them, that maybe they've got some kind of health issues, concerns, things that they're dealing with, and yet they're continuing to either be in a state of denial around things that they need to change, or resistance around change, that you feel like perhaps you're communicating, you want to respect their boundaries, but at the same time, you want to be there for them. You want to support them. You want to give them knowledge. You want to help them out, essentially. And there's a lot of this energy coming through with regard to really reconciling that right now and transmuting those energies. Because at the end of the day, free will is free will. And we choose what we want to do of our own free will. And this can be difficult because we can see people around us that we love, that we want to, take care of, nurture, help to grow, help to heal. And what the dragon energy really wants to bring through is, it's really interesting. What they're giving me here is an energy of still standing your ground, still speaking to those truths, doing it in a way that is very centered, grounded, empowered, okay? And transmuting that energy to the best of your abilities. They're showing me it's a process. They're showing me that this takes time. They're showing me that this takes energy. But they're giving me the energy here of also being a leader in that way and being an example in that way. But also not expecting anything in return and not expecting that other person to do exactly as perhaps you say or want. And really, like going back to the 7, it's like this kind of energy of trying to really balance that, right? Let's see what the cards have to say with regard to that, because it's a very, very big topic. It's a very nuanced thing to try to navigate, but they just keep on showing me standing our ground, speaking our truth no matter what, coming from a place of love, coming from a place of centeredness, not control, speaking to what you know to be true, and inviting that loved one into a space where they can really see that or envision that for themselves. It's almost like an energy here of just like, why don't you just imagine that for a moment? Like, see what that might feel like, how great you would feel, how good you would feel in this particular scenario. All right. Okay. All right. Asking now. Yeah, like just as I cut the deck, this is the kind of energy I'm talking about here. This is the energy they're bringing through with this broken heart and light coming in through the cracks. In this deck, the next card here, the Four of Swords, you see a woman, this woman, in a nest, and she's mending this heart, okay? And that's the energy that they're bringing through to me. I kind of have to break out of that energy for a moment here, because that energy of what we were just talking about is lingering a little bit, and they want to bring me back to the boundaries now. And really coming back to this energy of boundaries and protection. Look at that. I just literally started, look at this. See what's going on today? I'm telling you. And I keep on hearing one thing leads to another. What is this message of one thing leads to another? There's a deeper thing going on here. It's not just about, you know, why don't you do what you say what you mean. One thing leads to another. Well, I mean, they're showing me the consequences. They're showing me the consequences, this energy of flipping the switch, flipping the narrative, okay? How it can be very difficult. We're all on our own individual journeys with that, and they just want us for a moment to have compassion, such deep compassion for the people, the loved ones in our life. This just, yeah. Some of us feeling very stuck, some of us feeling very stuck, feeling imbalanced, discombobulated, not able to move forward, okay? That's the number 7 again. There are certain people who are at a point in their life, certain souls right now. I don't know why this energy of loved ones keeps on coming through, like family or people that you care about, loved ones, okay? What they're showing me is that some of them are not willing to go deeper right now. There's an energy of what I'm feeling is people just trying to get by. They just want to get to the next step. There's too much stuff going on. And we all have to kind of respect that, right? We need to respect where our boundaries are at. Sometimes, though, we do need a swift kick in the ass. We do, right? That goes without saying. The 6 of Pentacles, yeah, in reverse. There's an energy, again, and this is where it comes back to being nuanced, standing your ground. Look what I just did. I just did it again. This is crazy. I keep on hearing flip the switch. Flip the switch. Something in our approach needs to shift. 18 on the counter. 9 and 9. That's the end of the cycle. 9 and 9, 18. 9 again. 2 of Wands. The end of a cycle. This again. There's a vision here not lining up. There's something here I'm getting, okay. Something about the energy of guilt needing to be transmuted here and switched. Okay. They're bringing in an energy here of responsibility, of really understanding where our responsibilities lie and how much of those responsibilities lie with others. We have 100% responsibility for ourselves. The same way that we have free will. We are fully responsible for ourselves, our actions, our behaviors, what we do. To the extent to which we are responsible for others varies. They're giving the example of a parent and a child versus like an adult or someone you love, a loved one. Specifically, they're showing me energy of a spouse right now. Your husband, your wife, somebody who you are perhaps, like, they're just showing me a scenario here of struggling, not being able to see eye to eye with something, okay? And feeling stuck. Let's see what wants to come through with that. Already these cards are popping out. These cards are hot today. King of Swords and Two of Swords. Okay. They want me to keep on going here. Six of Wands. Okay. There is a higher perspective here with this King of Swords coming out. This is the third perspective. For lack of a better way of putting it, the third perspective, the ability to see things from a higher perspective. And what they're showing me right now are, they're showing me themselves seeing things from a higher perspective, right? Being up in the air. Interesting. They're also giving me the energy of how they are connected elementally to all the elements. It's really interesting with dragons, right? Because there's sort of an energy here. They're up in the air, they fly, yet they're very earth ground. Like you feel them, they need the earth, you know, the energy of living in caves, the physical aspect of them, the fire breathing aspect of them, the fact that there are water dragons, all connected. But what they're really showing me here is the energy of air and swords and seeing things from a detached perspective. Now, detached does not mean void of emotion or being aloof. What it means is seeing it, pulling back, not being right in the thick of it subjectively, being able to see it from a broader perspective. They're bringing in the energy here of soul contracts. They're bringing in the energy here of everyone being on a path specific to them, where there are lessons, where there are obstacles, where there are challenges that they need to look at. Lessons they need to learn, growth through those lessons, okay? Being able to see these things from a higher perspective. And this Two of Swords is about going deeper within the self, going deeper within the intuition. For both parties is what I'm hearing, for both parties, okay? This energy of going deeper. And also keeping it light. It's almost counterintuitive. It feels like with these heavy situations, heavy emotionally, stressful, anxious, those are exactly the moments that we need to pull back. Those are exactly the moments that we need to kind of look at this from a broader perspective. Respect the individual for being on the journey that they're on. It starts there with love and respect. The Six of Wands this is energy of seeing things from a much broader perspective. They're giving me, what's interesting is, even though the Six of Wands is connected to victory, the energy of victory, look at this card, how interesting this card is, right? Because what I'm seeing here is this is somebody on a stage, and it's an individual that is seeing things from a much higher perspective because they are on a stage and they are pulled back. They're not actually one-on-one with someone. This is not an intimate one-on-one situation where someone is up in your face, right? Or you're up in someone's face. This is pulling back again. There's victory in that. There's a rebalancing in that with this six, especially a rebalancing of energy, because that is what Wands represents. The Hermit at the bottom of the deck in reverse. We've got the number 9 coming out again. Okay. What's crazy is that in those moments where we're dealing with another person, where we are perhaps not pulling back, getting caught up in the emotions, getting caught up in the reaction of it, those are exactly the moments that we need again to pull back. We got to go into hermit mode a bit, right? We need to kind of process these things. That Hermit in reverse is showing that what's coming through for that is the fact that we need to also be aware of where we might be infringing on another person's boundaries. It goes both ways. So if you have boundaries and you need to stand your ground, right? There's also an energy of you respecting another's boundaries. Here's the thing. Speaking truths, seeing perhaps where someone is doing something that is not beneficial to them. That is, I'm talking, and okay, this is excluding situations where someone is perhaps coming at you or attacking you in some way. Okay, I'm not talking about situations here. I'm going back to the situation of this battle of wills, okay, where, you know, you can see that someone's doing something that isn't healthy for them, or that isn't good for them, or it's hurting them in some way, and you have expressed that to them. They keep coming back to this energy of you being very grounded, each and every one of us being very grounded in love and respect in speaking, because they keep on reminding me here, and this is something I didn't mention earlier, Septarian is very much a stone that helps you speak up. Like, I know it's like a stone that's connected to public speaking. And it's coming from a grounded place. It's coming from a place of being very centered and grounded in what it is you have to say. Okay? Where someone is doing something repeatedly, it's not good for them. You know it's not good for them. You're trying to reconcile at the same time the fact that they're on their own journey and they need to learn certain things through this process. But at the same time, coming back to responsibility. What they're saying is it's your responsibility to speak to that. And that's the work that you do. You can't control them. You can't change anything. You need to start from speaking from your own place of sovereignty and truth. And be the example, is how they're showing it to me. Be the example of mastery here. Be that example to that person. And through that process, what happens is there is an energy, when you're in that frequency and in that energy and in that space, you're more likely to have a healthy influence or a positive influence or impact on that situation. Because I just want you for a moment to feel into that energy of a battle of wills. Like, what's the point? What's the point? With everything that we know, what's the point? Okay. I'm going to close it up there. Thank you to the dragon spirit, to the dragon realm, this beautiful dragon energy, for being here with us. Yeah, it's like, I feel like there's more to say on this. They may come through again for this. I feel like there's a lot more to say on this, and I feel like the dragon realm, I'm going to say quickly before signing off here that this is an invitation for you, if you've come across this video, if you are interested in the dragon realm, if something resonates with you here, to really connect with that in a sacred space, of course. Connect with that dragon energy, because they're really coming in quite strongly for the empath collective right now. And I don't think this is just kind of the beginning, is what they're showing me, okay? I thank you for being here, for sharing your time, your energy with me in this space. And I'm sending you so much love wherever you are, in love and liberation, always.